The screen fades in on a dusty Texas morning, the kind where the sun hangs low like a judgmental eye, baking the cracked earth of my little ranch on the outskirts of suburbia. Chickens cluck softly in the background, their feathers rustling like whispered secrets, while the scent of fresh hay and warm feathers fills the air. I'm out there, sweat trickling down my neck, scattering feed with a rhythmic toss until her voice slices through the peace like a chainsaw. You think this is some hillbilly paradise? Those filthy birds are a blight on our community. Karen's screech echoes across the fence line, her perfectly coiffed hair unmoving in the breeze, her finger jabbing like a dagger. She's the HOA president, the self-appointed queen of Whispering Pines Estates, and she's been gunning for my property since the day I inherited it from Grandpa. No preamble, no hello, just pure venom. Her eyes narrowing as if my chickens personally offended her manicured lawn. That was the spark, the moment the war ignited. Short and brutal, her mockery versus my quiet defiance. I stood there, heart pounding in my chest like a trapped bird, the metallic tang of anger rising in my throat. They're not hurting anyone. Karen, I muttered, but she laughed a sharp, brittle sound that made the hens scatter in a flurry of wings and dust. She'd rallied the board already, slapping me with violation notices faster than I could collect eggs. Ranch. Please. This is a neighborhood, not a barnyard. Her words stung, echoing the whispers I'd heard at the grocery store, the sidelong glances from neighbors who once waved but now averted their eyes. I sighed deeply, the weight of it all pressing on my shoulders like the humid air before a storm. Nights blurred into one another. The creak of the old porch swing my only companion as I pored over HOA bylaws under the dim glow of a lamp, the faint buzz of mosquitoes adding to the frustration. Why chickens? They weren't just pets. They were my therapy. Their gentle pecking and cooing a balm for the PTSD that clawed at me since my tour in Afghanistan. The VA doc had suggested animals, but who knew feathered friends could heal the invisible wounds? Yet here was Karen, turning my sanctuary into a battlefield. As the days dragged on, the tension built like thunderheads on the horizon. I'd catch glimpses of her patrolling the street in her pristine SUV, the engine's low hum a warning signal. One afternoon, amid the clatter of feed buckets and the earthy smell of turned soil, an unexpected visitor showed up. Old man Hargrove from down the block, his cane tapping rhythmically against the gravel driveway. I hadn't seen him since the block party years ago. Rumor had it he was a recluse, battling his own demons from Vietnam. Heard about your flap with the HOA, he grumbled, his voice gravelly like sandpaper, eyes twinkling with a mischief I didn't expect. He leaned on the fence, watching the chickens scratch, and shared a story that hit like a plot twist. Back in '72, he'd fought a similar HOA over his beehives, claiming they were essential for his allergies. Service animals ain't just dogs. Son, he said with a wheezing laugh, pulling out a faded letter from the ADA office. It was a light bulb moment, his words hanging in the air amid the soft clucks and the distant bark of a neighbor's dog. Hargrove wasn't just a neighbor. He became my unlikely ally, his tales of rebellion adding layers to my fight, reminding me that battles like this had echoes in the past. Emotions swung wild, those weeks' rage bubbling up like hot oil when another fine landed in my mailbox, the paper crinkling under my fingers as I tore it open. Then despair, sinking into the couch with a heavy exhale. The house silent except for the tick-tock of Grandpa's old clock, mocking my helplessness. But Hargrove's visit flipped the script. Hope flickered like fireflies at dusk. I dove into research. The keyboard clicks frantic under my calloused hands, the screen's blue glow illuminating my determined face. Service animals. The ADA was broad emotional support for disabilities. My chickens fit the bill. They calmed the nightmares, their routine grounding me when flashbacks hit like gunfire. Registering them was a maze of forms and doctor's notes, the sterile smell of the VA clinic clinging to my clothes as I waited in line, heart racing with a mix of nerves and excitement. You're serious? The doc asked, eyebrows raised, but he signed off, his pen scratching like validation. Karen didn't see it coming. The next HOA meeting was a powder keg, The community center humming with fluorescent lights and the murmur of folding chairs scraping against linoleum. She strutted in, agenda in hand, her perfumia cloying floral assault wafting ahead like a declaration of war. Item 3, the eyesore at 47, Oak Lane, she announced, her voice dripping condescension, eyes locking on me with a smirk. The room shifted uncomfortably, whispers rustling like leaves in wind. I stood, pulse thundering in my ears, and dropped the bomb. My chickens are registered service animals under the ADA. Any action against them violates federal law. Gasps rippled through the crowd, chairs creaking as people leaned forward. Karen's face twisted first shock, then fury, her cheeks flushing red as she slammed her gavel with a sharp crack. That's absurd. Chickens, you're mocking the system. But I held firm, papers rustling as I passed them around, the scent of fresh ink mixing with the room's stale coffee aroma. The backlash was swift, a storm of emails and doorstep confrontations. Karen rallied her cronies, their voices rising in heated debates over backyard barbecues, the sizzle of burgers underscoring their outrage. He's exploiting a loophole, she ranted at one gathering, her words sharp as knives, while I overheard from my porch, the evening crickets chirping in ironic sympathy. But doubt crept in for me to a late-night sigh as I stroked a hen's feathers, her warm body a comfort against the chill of uncertainty. What if this backfired? Hargrove checked in, his gravelly voice over the phone a steady anchor. Stick to your guns, kid. Justice ain't always pretty. His encouragement fueled me. But the emotional roller coaster peaked when a kid from next door, little me 8 years old with pigtails and a gap-toothed grin snuck over. I love your chickens, Mr. Jake, she whispered, her small hand reaching through the fence, the birds pecking gently at seeds she offered. Turns out, she'd been watching, her innocent joy a subplot that humanized the fight, reminding me this wasn't just about rules. It was about community, about what home really meant. Tensions escalated to a boiling point at the emergency board hearing, the air thick with anticipation, the hum of the AC doing little to cool the heated glares. Karen opened with a tirade, her voice echoing off the walls like thunder. This is an outrage. We won't stand for barnyard animals sullying our pristine neighborhood. Supporters nodded, murmurs building like a wave. I countered, voice steady despite the knot in my stomach, presenting evidence that ADA letters, vet certifications, even a testimonial from Hargrove, who hobbled in dramatically, cane thumping for emphasis. These birds saved my friend here from the darkness, he declared, his words hanging heavy, the room falling silent except for a distant cough. Karen's rebuttal faltered, her usual poise cracking as sweat beaded on her forehead, the fluorescent lights casting harsh shadows on her face. The climax hit like a freight train when the state investigator arrived, summoned by my formal complaint, a no-nonsense woman in a crisp suit, her heels clicking authoritatively across the floor. She reviewed the docs with a scrutinizing gaze. HOA interference with service animals is a clear violation, she stated flatly, her words slicing through the tension like a blade. Fines were levied $50. 000 for discrimination. Another $20. 000 for harassment. The figures dropping like bombshells. Karen's gasp was audible, a choked sound that echoed my earlier sighs, her empire crumbling in real time. The board scrambled, apologies tumbling out amid the shuffle of papers and averted eyes. She stormed out, the door slamming with a finality that vibrated through the chairs, her defeat bitter and absolute. In the aftermath, as the sun set on my ranch, painting the sky in fiery oranges, I sat on the porch, a hen perched contentedly on my lap, her soft coos a symphony of peace. The neighborhood shifted neighbors waved again, Mia's laughter ringing as she visited openly. Hargrove raised a toast over the fence, his chuckle warm like aged whiskey. Karen, she resigned in disgrace, her once mighty HOA humbled, a cautionary tale whispered at gatherings. The fight taught me resilience. That standing up isn't just about winning, it's about claiming your space. Feathers and all. Justice isn't always swift, but when it arrives, it hits hard. inspiring others to fight their own battles with the quiet strength of a clucking hen. The screen fades out on the ranch at dusk. Chickens settling in. The world a little fairer under the stars.